Welcome to part 2 of Pressure Points in Chi. It is 12:30, so we got plenty of time. Alright, so as I left off, I talked about how my hands was on fire in a couple of fights. If you want to catch up on the other video to go see what I said so that I don't misspeak here, just go watch the other video. So now we're going to do a deep dive into Chi and Pressure Points, alright? So we're going to, again, take it from Pressure Points, because Pressure Points is easier for me to explain. There is no mystical, there is no magical, there is no superpowers behind Pressure Points. There is like, you see these lines on my hand, everywhere there's a joint, there's a pressure point. So if I just do this, there's a pressure point, and there's a pressure point. Alright, you get the gist. Your body is a pathway for pressure points and chakras. I don't refer to chakras. I am not a yoga person, yoga. I don't do yoga. Alright, and yoga is forever talking about chakras and all kinds of chambers and all this other shit. Well, Taekwondo does talk about chambers because they teach you, you have to chamber your kick here, or you chamber your punch there, or whatever the fuck. Taekwondo also talked about Chi. When I took Taekwondo into Inner Stairway from Mr. Ennis, we also mentioned Chi. I also had to do a lot of push-ups because I refused to call a higher-ranking kid who was like maybe 12, and I'm like 16, sir, because he has a green belt and I have a white belt. And I'm like, I'm not going to call this kid sir. He's fucking 12 years old. He shouldn't even have the damn belt. But I'm also totally against the belt system anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I think the belt system is bullshit. Especially if you're not going to fight for your belts. If you can't fight for your belts, then the belt system is bullshit. And I don't give a damn who doesn't like that shit. I'm going to stick with that until the day I die. Because if you are a black belt, you shouldn't be able to get your ass kicked by anybody. Unless they are a really good fighter. Which would actually be a conundrum of why do you have a black belt if you got your ass kicked by someone who's not a black belt. You understand how that works? And I've beaten some black belts, but I don't have a black belt. I've also showed some black belts a few tricks that they were never taught in school. And the reason why they were never taught in school, because martial arts is everywhere and everything, and if you don't know that, then you probably don't know martial arts like you think you do. Alright, so moving on. So when I learned Kempo, everywhere there's a joint, there's a pressure point. That was like the first phrase that I learned for Kempo. And I've stuck with that shit until this very day. I will stick with that shit until I die. Again, I did not take Shaolin Kempo. I just found out about that shit this year. So I took Okinawa Kempo and some Korean Kempo. Do not ask me how to differentiate. I do not know. But they're basically the same shit. Hurricane kick in Kempo is a tornado kick in Taekwondo. Alright, so just so that you know, kicks have the same kick, just different names per style. Alright, getting that out of the way, we will begin. When I started taking Kempo, I had already taken Taekwondo, so I knew what kicks to look for Taekwondo to stop them. So in Kempo, when someone's throwing a turning round kick, which looks exactly the same as Taekwondo, only Taekwondo, you pop and pop it out. So when you stop that leg and you pop it out, and if y'all watch these Taekwondo videos, you will see people doing the multiple high kicks and all that shit, which is great for show. In real life, you're never going to get the chance to do that. You're probably only going to need one kick. You kick somebody who can't fight and they go down, it's done. Let's keep the shit real. It's done. What the fuck do I need to constantly doing that for? Now, I'm kicking multiple targets because I'm going to say this. I'm going to piss off every TKD on the internet. I'm going to piss all y'all off. But I'm going to piss off every martial artist because what I'm about to say is 1,000% true. Here's how this works. If you're making a movie and you're using Taekwondo or any martial art whatsoever, it's supposed to look good. Alright? It's supposed to last that long. But the average street fight or the average fight in general won't last more than 10 minutes. Where if you're making an action fight movie, that fight's going to drag on and on and on. I'm an actor, I know. That fight's going to last 10 minutes because you don't want to spend $15 at a movie theater and every fight scene's like 2 minutes. You don't want to see real fights. You want to see the imaginary fights because a real fight, somebody's going to sleep. That's just how it is. Now, if these guys are professional and they're fighting in the ring, most of the fights are 3 5-minute rounds or some shit like that, or 5 3-minute rounds. It really depends on the system of whatever arena they're in. Some fights only go 2 minutes. That bell rings, that minute and a half it takes to get across the cage, boom, one hitter quitter. motherfucker's out. Or one kick, guy springs off the cage, ninja kicks the shit out of you, you're going down. Superman kick, Superman punch, all that shit. You know, most fights don't last more than 2 to 5 minutes. If you're fighting for 10 minutes, you're making a movie. You know, if you're fighting for 5 minutes and some change, you're both either really, really good or somebody's got some hellacious defense. And again, fighting works in the principle of I hit you, you go down, or you hit me, I go down. And somewhere in the middle of that, somebody's going to be throwing some blocks. You know, now you know the karate block. This block, I don't use it. It's not useless. I just don't use it. I prefer street fighting blocking, you know, or boxing blocking versus, and I can do these karate blocks versus this a whole lot fucking easier. Because this, you know, it's like for a hammer fist. I have rarely ever seen someone do a hammer fist these days at all, especially in a fight or in a film. So, you know, I've never seen somebody come down with a hammer fist, which this block is specifically for if you take karate. Now, you know, I can see these blocks, you know, wax on, wax off, paint the fence, you know, because paint the fence is Crane, but it also can be Snake, you know, but it really depends. Now, if you're going to do pressure points and the hammer fist and it hits you in one of these little metacarpal radial thingies, it's going to hurt like shit. You know, again, you don't ever really see too many people using a hammer fist. I mean, most people want to show off, you know, try to outbox you or some shit like that. But the thing with pressure points, you know, it is very likely that you can do more damage by aiming at solid flesh in movies versus real life. Now, in real life, if you're gonna learn Kempo, they're gonna teach you. You know, you're gonna hit where there are indentions because it's easier for me to hit you here than to hit you in a solid mass area. If your chest is built like a brick shithouse, and I can tag that damn thing all day and do no damage, and then you just punch me one time and I'm going to sleep, you know, what did I learn? I learned how to take an ass whooping. That's pretty much what I've learned. You know, if I'm throwing punches and they're not effective, then I need to change my game. You know, so if I'm going to do pressure points, honestly, truly, God, you don't have to like it. I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to piss off a lot of more martial artists, not just the TKD. First and foremost, if you're going to use pressure points, you can utilize Mantis a lot better than you could probably use Solid Fist or Dragon or Tiger. You know, you can't really use pressure points on them because those are like grapples. So if you're going to do Dragon, or this is Tiger actually, so Dragon starts here. But if you're going to do Tiger and you're going to grapple and break, that's fine. But if you're going to do Dragon and grapple and try to twist and pull, you know, you're going to be doing a whole lot of other shit to get there. Keep the fight simple. Now, when it comes to the pressure point system, you have to actually know where they are. And you're not going to know them all the time, everywhere. So you're going to have to go with what you know. And like I said, everywhere there's a joint, there's a pressure point. There's a reason why we're doing pressure points first. They're a lot easier for me to explain how to use them, where to use them, when to use them, versus me trying to explain fucking chi power. Alright? Now the thing with pressure points also, I know the sun is like totally in my viewpoint now. The point of the matter is that when it comes down to pressure points, there's a lot of also grapples in Wing Chun that also rely on pressure points. There's also a lot in Snake, you know, so this Snake, when the Snake attacks, you know, you can go for the throat, where the Crane also attacks, but the Crane keeps the beak, so it can only, like, prop you probably in there versus going up in here, because the Crane doesn't ever really open its beak, you know, but the Snake always has its fangs open and ready to go. So if you snake and you strike and you twist and you go up in here, the fangs will strike here. Same thing with the Tiger, same thing with the Dragon. You know, you can grapple and then get up under there and catch some of the jugulars and shit like that. But again, I am more kung fu oriented than other martial arts, but I do add other martial arts into my martial art. Alright, so old school Wing Chun, I love. Wushu, I love before the flare, which goes back to why I'm about to piss off martial artists. A lot of martial artists now that are doing like Taekwondo and Wushu, they have become more flare and showy martial arts. Now, granted, the resurgence of karates is new to me. The resurgence of Taekwondo, because Taekwondo has made one fucking hell of a comeback right now, and Wushu is also making a good stride, but Wushu is still showy as hell. So, and I'm also mad because I'm not allowed to do Wushu because the damn doctor said no, never, never, ever again will you ever attempt to do anything in Wushu fashion. So no tornado kick landing on your leg, all that other shit. No, you can't do that anymore. So I'm not going to do that anymore. But at the same time, I still want to. But because this is the leg I usually land on, and it was the leg that I had the hip replacement first, and this one needs to be replaced, it's not a fucking option. And this is why when you watch some of my videos and my tornado kicks look a little off, or if I misstep when I land, is because the momentum is carrying me. I no longer have the balance in my standing leg to pull it off precisely anymore. I can still pull it off. I shouldn't be pulling it off, but I can still pull it off. It's just that the landings are a little bit more taxing on my leg now, so I have to be really careful at what I do. And now everybody on YouTube knows that I have a hip replacement, and everybody on YouTube knows, like, oh, well, if we fight him, we're going to have to go kick him in his left leg. Well, you feel free to attempt that, and I will feel free to break your fucking kneecaps. Anyway, so that being said, this is why I also teach people, like, if you're going to break something, you need to break a joint, because joints are harder to heal than non-joints. All right, and the reason why I say that, because of pressure points and because of Kempo, is that if you're throwing a Taekwondo kick, again, which I just said like 10 minutes ago, if you're throwing a Taekwondo kick and you pop it out, and I am in the right positioning to catch your shin and the back of your calf with this hand and smash your knee with an open palm or a punch as I pull this and push through, I'm going to do some damage to you. And that's my whole gist of that right there. Because, see, the thing about recognizing a fighting style will save your ass versus, okay, well, we both know Taekwondo. But you don't know what else this motherfucker knows. So you need to be able to, if you're both whooping each other's ass with Taekwondo, but the fight's going longer than you have cardio, because that's very important, then you need to switch your game. But if you don't have anything but Taekwondo, and this guy has, let's say, Muay Thai, or he has Kempo, or he has basic karate. He switches your game and he's no longer fighting you with Taekwondo. It's more than likely he's probably going to whoop your ass because you're not going to be able to like adapt fast enough. Be like, no, this guy went from Taekwondo to like something else. What the fuck is this shit? Now let me explain that before we go too deep and get back our pressure points. All right, so many people that I have sparred with from high school and grade school and middle school, which mostly was middle school and high school. Anybody that I was sparring with in grade school probably wasn't a sparring match. I was probably trying to beat the shit out of them. And I probably did beat the shit out of them. But that's a confession. When you're sparring with someone who only knows one style, it's much easier to beat them when you know two. Alright? And the reason why I say that, I point this out all the time. I was sparring with a black guy who was a black belt. And he tried to judo throw me. As he went for the judo throw, I landed on my feet. And then I sprung off the wall with a Captain America kick, which everybody keeps thinking it's a Superman punch. No, Captain America did that shit. Superman's always flying. He doesn't spring off at anything. For those who are not comic book fans, it's a Captain America kick. It's a Captain America punch. Get it right. Anyway, in doing that, you have to understand that everything in the dojo doesn't always work in the street. Everything in the street can adapt faster for a dojo. It just depends on who's teaching you what. My master Ennis, before passing by Seppuku, he seen me do Kung Fu while he was teaching us Taekwondo. He's like, James, do you really know that? And I was like, I know enough of it. And he's like, well, you don't do that in my dojo. And I was like, okay, well, see, I know what helps me win versus what you're teaching me. Push-ups. So I had to go over there, get on my knuckles, and do push-ups. It's the same thing, just like not calling the kids sir. There's a respect line. I broke it quite a few times, actually. But the problem is that, if I can beat a black belt, did I teach you something? Or did you not have a black belt? Or should you have not had a black belt in the first place? Because here's the thing about fights. Fights don't have a set ending. They only have a set starting point. 9 times out of 10, if you get into a fight and you're fighting someone who knows martial arts, if you don't know the same martial art, you could probably still beat them because the difference between one man and another man is more than likely the size of his penis. Because if you can kick, I can kick. If you can punch, I can punch. So what's the problem? Because I don't know martial arts, I'm supposed to just let you kick me and beat my ass and shit? No, fuck that. Because you don't know martial arts, all the more reason that if you can kick somebody, kick the shit out of their ass. You know? Let me break it down. Let me really piss off martial artists and then go into a third video, because it's 15 minutes and I can go back into chi in the next video. But I'm going to tell you something that all martial artists should know by now. And if you don't know, I'm about to fuck your world up right now. Everybody on this fucking planet is not only capable of knowing martial arts, you already know it. You go to a school to unlock your potential. You go to a school to teach you how to properly kick and punch, or where to hit when you kick and punch, versus you go into a school to sit here and do this and do this and do this and do this. Well, the thing is, before martial arts had a name, ancient people were already using it. The Asians in China, Japan, and Korea just mastered and made that shit much more effective than shit. You know, but people don't know that they know martial arts. But I can tell you right now, if you're in a street fight and your foot's the only thing you have because people are tying you down or whatever, you're going to use your fucking foot. You're not just going to let people hold you the fuck down. You're going to actually fight. And if you have one leg free, that's a weapon. Simple as that. I learned this from the ages of 6 to 12. So when I say I started taking martial arts, I literally started taking martial arts at 7 years old. But as a street fighter from the age of 6 to 12, I've already picked up how to use my feet. I just didn't know how to use them properly. So when I started learning karate, I learned how to use them properly. I learned this is the best target for a side kick or a turning round kick. This is the best target for a forward kick, a jump kick, a knockout blow, a jumping spin kick. Now, there's one problem with that jumping spin kick. The duck factor. If you can see it coming, you're going to duck that shit. And I'm defenseless in the air. So, you're going to hit me in the testicles if you're a smart fighter. If not, you're going to let me land and catch me in the face. But if my guard's up, then I'm not defenseless. But the thing about jumping and spinning in the air, doing a 160-degree turn, or a 360-degree turn, or a 540, or 650, or where you spin, and gain all that momentum to deliver a kick, is there's a guarantee that while you're doing all that spinning, I'm not going to be there when you land, or when you extend your foot for that kick. So you're going to have to be like the Flash to pull that 360 spin kick and actually contact somebody. Now, if it's actually happening in a fight, not a movie, there's a good chance that you're not going to be able to pull that kick, because it really depends on who you're fucking fighting. Which goes back to, a lot of showy martial arts are good for movies, not good for real life. And I just pissed off every martial artist with that, because here's the truth. You can have this much martial arts skills and beat somebody who has this much martial arts skills. I know this because I've done this. And you know, I've sparred with guys who have outranked me, and they have been losing big time. As you can see, there's my little buddy. Go away, boy. I know you see those lights. Anyhow, we're going to go on to pressure points and chi in the next video, and I may have company. So I'm going to end the video here and then go to the next video. But yeah, chi, power proceed as power achieved and all that. But as far as me being able to shoot people out of my hands, that's just not going to happen. So we'll go into pressure points, we'll finish pressure points, and we'll go into chi in the third video. So thanks for watching.